Awesome. Let's get started. Hello, hello. My name is Nigeria Chambers of Big Go Belt Media. Sheila, it's a pleasure to talk to you today. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, Niger. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be talking to you and your listeners and
That is,
audience.
thank you so much. I know we're here to talk about Elemental, but let's just be real here, real quick.
Hmm.
2023 has been amazing for you. So we're just going to just celebrate all things you. Fantastic season 2 of Tehran and on Apple TV Plus, folks. Please go check that out. Don't just check out season 2. Check out the entire season. It's a fantastic series. I still don't think it get enough flowers that it deserves. But for the
Oh,
folks who know, you know, and for the folks who don't, go check it out. Tell your folks. And then we have Elemental making its premiere today. It's in theaters today. I did get a chance to check this out. And with it being released today, I must ask, what are you doing on release day? Where are you at? What are you up to today?
I'm in London. I wasn't able to make it to the LA premiere. I'm in London to make the London premiere this weekend.
Congratulations, getting able to experience it with the fans and your loved ones that may come out for it. It's a fantastic movie. I have so much to talk about. You're just illuminating right now. I can tell you're having such an amazing time with this and just all things with you in this year.
Mm.
Uh, First off, I got so many questions about the character, but before we actually talk about the character, getting back into the booth, it's been a little while since you've done some voice acting, it seems. What was it like? And I want to get like really particular because I have such a vast appreciation for voice actors, and although you're an actor and all, but the art of voice acting is a very special skill and talent, and then it just continues to revolutionized. You know, you hear folks talk about doing it on tape years ago and happen to like go into a studio. And then, you know, now you're hearing folks like, oh, I just had a pod sent to my house and I just did it in my closet, et cetera, et cetera. So there is a lot of magic behind getting it done. So I would love if you can really talk us through the moment you got the call, how was the recording process and how did you connect with this character?
Thanks, Nazir. What a beautiful question. The when I got this call, it was one of the most amazing moments of my life. Because I have no idea where Peter Sohn, who is the creator of Elementals, he's the director and co-writer.
Yeah.
It's based on his life as the child of Korean immigrants, even though it has nothing to do with Koreans or
Yeah.
any culture. Elementals, they're elements in Element City. But so I get a call from him, and he basically was looking for a voiceover artist to voice the character of Cinder because that character is based on his mother, on
Ooh,
Peter's own mom. So it was such an honor for me that he even thought of me.
yeah.
And it was so important for me to do a wonderful job to represent his mom, God bless her soul, and to also represent immigrant women with honor and with love and with humor. So he set up a Zoom meeting. And in the Zoom meeting, he had me go through all the lines of Cinder from the beginning to the end. And he was so lovely and he was so humble. And I just wasn't sure what we were doing. And then I found out that I got the part. And I was so floored with gratitude and excitement and just gratitude.
Yeah.
Mm.
Did you get the Pixar campus tour?
No, I never made it up there because I live in Southern California and
Yeah.
Pixar's in the Bay Area.
Yeah, yeah.
So they would rent out a studio near me, like it would be about maybe 20 minutes away. I think it was in Burbank a couple times, once someplace else.
Yeah.
And so I'd go into the studio and I would see them on Zoom. Now, normally the voiceover work that I've done, as you said, I have my closet and it's
Yep.
my linen closet.
Yep.
And there's hardly any room to move and there's linens everywhere. And so that's how I've been doing it. So this was the
Yeah.
first time I'm in a nice studio. Wow,
Yeah.
it's very nice and it's air conditioned and roomy. And there's a beautiful tablet in front of me, some iPhone gazillion tablet. It's just perfect. And so I see their faces on Zoom. And so Peter was directing me from Zoom from
Yeah.
I don't know how many hundreds of miles away.
That's so cool. I don't know what other folks' perception of how voice acting is done, but every single time I hear about the story of doing it in their closet, I'm like, oh, it's going to be amazing. One, because of the comfort, but also think that it taps into our childhood a little bit here of like hiding in small spaces, but like
Being
the
in
work
small
behind it.
spaces.
It's so cool. I love it. But I'm
Right.
glad you get to get it in both ways here now, going to the studio. And the Pixar campus tour is like really much on my bucket list. I have got to get there
Oh yeah,
someday.
me too. Me too.
And now that you're part of the Pixar Disney family, I'm sure your
Oh,
invite is just right there at will call, you know.
oh
Um,
my God.
so I gotta be 100% honest here, and I know that I feel like a lot of the promotional work with this film is about Ember, and you can even say Ember and Wade's relationship that kind of blossoms over this film. But as you mentioned, I think as and I truly bring my child spirit with when I go into these films, but my adult mind could not be removed from the very important messages that we see from your character Cinder, alongside of slipping out of my mind right now, but
Bernie, my husband Bernie and Ember's
yes,
dad. Yeah.
yes,
And what a beautiful, because it's also such a beautiful relationship between Ember and her father.
yes,
And that's something, and I just realized this is Father's Day weekend that it's coming out. It's so
uh-huh,
important for fathers to be much more acknowledged for what they do and how good dads, they hold up the world,
yeah,
and for their families and for their children and their uh, their children's moms to be able to thrive and to
yep,
be healthy and to be happy, and really, God bless fathers. We need to give them much more acknowledgement than we do, and this story certainly does. It's such a beautiful relationship between a father and a daughter,
yeah.
and that love that just permeates the screen.
Exactly. And I think
Beautiful.
that, like, yeah, looking from it from adult eyes, like you get emotional realizing how much this story relates to so many of us. You talk about, again, Bernie and Cinder's uh ultimate sacrifice to provide
Mm.
a quality of life for Ember here, and um you know having having everything, but then losing it all. And while there was
Mhm.
could have been a level of comfortability to say we'll just rebuild here again, we left
Mhm.
because we wanted to provide a better quality of life for Ember. We also wanted to have something to give back to Ember when you start talking about generational wealth. But then beyond just that small scope of things, you went into a city, and if I may say, we went into a country where there was
Mhm.
promises of like the grass is greener there, and
Mhm.
opportunity,
Mhm.
and potentially even freedom here if we go there,
Mhm. Mhm.
just to find out that we're just outcasts.
Mhm.
There's nothing for us here. No one wants us here. The promises were lies, and seeing Bernie and Cinder really build from nothing to establish not only a legacy for that family and for Ember, but for the whole fire community here.
Mhm.
I couldn't help but to be completely emotional thinking about how many parents have done the same thing, for myself and for others, in terms of saying, while this may truly not be the best move or even the most convenient move for us, it's about what we leave once we're gone.
Right.
When you started to dissect and connect, and you've been an advocate who's always talked about inclusion and representation, did you have any clue the intricacies that were going to be within this film, even though it's a Disney Pixar film, but having such a big worldly message attached to it?
Mm-mm. I mean, I knew that it is the gold standard, as Disney and Pixar are, of animation, of storytelling. Other than that, I had no idea until I watched it. Because when I first came onto the project, I hadn't read the entire script. It was never sent to me. So I only knew those parts that are Cinder's parts. And so from that, I was able to assess what's going on.
Yeah.
But when I watched it and I saw, um, I really resonated with Ember quite a bit, because I am also the not only an immigrant, but I'm the daughter of immigrants,
Yeah.
and with what that keen understanding, like you so eloquently put it, that we immigrants, we are so aware of the ultimate sacrifices that our parents made just to make sure that we have a better life. So we as immigrants have a burden on our shoulders that people that aren't immigrants may not have in this same way.
Yeah.
Are you also, your parents are also immigrants? Did you also have
No,
this experience?
no, but I still feel, even as a son raised by a single mother and as a
Mm,
minority, and I think even in 2023, there isn't really and especially people of color, there isn't
mhm,
always safe
mhm.
channels and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same proper equality and opportunities for women.
totally,
um
totally.
and I seeing even what, and as you mentioned, the weight of what Bernie carries, but I was going to also chime in really quick and say, but the anchor of what Cinder keeps him
Thank
grounded.
you. Thank you
It's
so much for that. You're so right. There's always behind every wonderful man, there's a woman.
yeah,
Absolutely. So true. And and what you were saying about it all, it is elemental, really reminds me of exactly what you're saying, that because this is a story in which the water elements came in first to the
yeah,
city, right? So the
mm-hmm,
water elements, and it's based on cities like Amsterdam and Venice, where there's a lot of water canals. And
yeah,
then other immigrants, other elements came in as other immigrants. They were there for a while before the fire element comes in. And the fire element comes in and sees that they're totally marginalized, and it's just not very easy for them to fit in. It's not easy for them to live here because
yeah,
water can destroy fire.
yeah.
So there's just so much of everything we're talking about is featured without being in a loudspeaker. You see it,
Exactly. It's a
right?
it's a it's a beautiful story. I think
Mm.
I think kids are gonna they're gonna eat this story up. They're gonna say, oh, it's aesthetically beautiful. The love
Right.
element of this is so nice, and just the adventure
Mm.
you go on. But I think, when these kids have kids and they look back at this, they're gonna look back and just be kind of mind blown about the messages that were in it, that yeah, like you
Hmm.
said, you weren't slapped across the head with it, but they very much exist
Hmm.
right there in the face. And I think that's why this film is going to be timeless, because it's always going to be the
Hmm.
story of the gift that keeps on giving, because there's going to be kids that realize what their adults did. There's adults now that realize what our parents did. And I think the adults will get their flowers, because now kids
Right.
and us are going to look at it and say, you know what, I never really looked at it in that way. Like, yeah, it may have been as simple as saying, like, oh, you move from state to state. That's cool.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
wanted to go to a better state, but what was the sacrifices beyond that? Did you had to lose a job? What ultimately
Hmm.
forced you to leave the state? Were you able
Hmm.
to procure a place to stay? No, as we see, as soon as your family, the Lumen family shows up, they couldn't find housing. I mean, like, it's a quick
Hmm.
thing, but that's such a real thing right now.
Right. 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 And and Cinder's original name was Gofshushit ik Arufash Isider. And so she comes into a country and they're like, oh, how about Cinder? And they change it to Cinder.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
it's like you really have to put who you are behind to become this new version of yourself.
And I thought, when I heard that, I was like, oh God, that hit really hard.
Mm.
I don't want to go as
Mm.
far as saying cringy, but like very close to the folks who have to come to another country and can't even carry their own name because of
Yeah.
the idea of saying, okay, I guess this is too hard for you. What? Like,
Mm. Right.
I thought this was like a mixing bowl of everything here, but you're
Right.
saying I'm included enough to be excluded. Got it. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Let's
included enough to be excluded. Thank
yeah, got it. Yeah.
you.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about some fun things here. I love this character. The dialogue with Cinder is so amazing. The love detector. Would you consider yourself a love detector now?
Yeah, I listen. I'm a total matchmaker, but I'm terrible at it. I've never created not one match that works, and it's because I love my friends. It's like I love you, and I love you, and why don't
Yeah.
you just love each other? And they just
Yeah. Yeah.
don't. Yeah, and then they get mad at me, and I get yelled at a lot, and for
Because you're in the
meddling, and
middle.
so there's a, so that happens.
That is hilarious. And with your character, how much beyond the love detector and whatnot, how much of this character would you say is you? The banter,
All of it.
should we say
I'm
stalking Ember, seeing
oh
where she's
my
going?
God, this character is me. This character is me. The only difference is that she's hot. And
Yeah,
I swear to God, no pun intended. I love round women. My mom is round, and
yeah,
God bless her soul. But I'm just crazy about my mom. I just love that round feminine, and she's
yeah,
hot and she's fiery. But the only difference between me and Cinder is that, first of all, she's a mom. I don't have children of my own.
yeah,
I give a lot of love to my friends and nieces and nephews.
yeah,
I'm very nurturing that way, but not a physical mother. But the other thing is the accent, because the language of Firish was created by the linguist who created a language for Game of Thrones, and so it's like a whole new language. So Peter Sohn and was collaborating with me about, well, if this is the language that these people spoke since childhood, I wonder when they speak English, how would their accent be? So we
yeah.
had to do some, you know, we had to come up with kind of an accent that, but other than that, Cinder is 1000% me. I wish I was more like Cinder. I wish I was fiery and short and round and fabulous, and a matchmaker whose matches actually work.
Yeah. Well, of some of the things you described, you're absolutely fabulous. I can totally say
Mm,
that. Such an amazing
thank you.
spirit.
Takes one to know one, not you. Thank you.
Thank you. And for my final question is again, folks, Elementals in theaters today, June 16th. What is it? How do I put this? Why do people need to go see this film, or what is it that you want folks to take away from this film?
That um, when you see people or a group of people that are different than you,
Yeah.
instead of turning your back and judging them and feeling like you are so much better, that they are wrong, to if we open ourselves up to others, there's an alchemy that happens that makes each person better. We become better versions of ourselves. We become more sophisticated, and we learn more about ourselves. Because I'm telling you, I really feel like that's one of the big lessons for humanity. That human beings, we come in, there's certain lessons we take that our souls, I feel like,
Yeah.
become better. One of those lessons is that if you think somebody's different, the minute you judge, believe me, if you just open yourself to that person, there's so much you're going to learn about yourself, because we have a lot more similarities than differences.
Beautiful, beautiful. Sheila, I know our time is up, and I wish we could talk
Ah,
so much longer, but you
me
have a
too.
premiere to get to tonight, and it has been a pleasure to have this opportunity today to talk to you, even in the short 15 something minutes. But we'll definitely cross paths again. I have a feeling. I just know that this is just the beginning of the beautiful work that you're going to do in 2023. So
I hope so. I hope so. Thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Having a fantastic time tonight. Folks, check out Elemental in theaters today. Let us know in the comments your thoughts, the messages, the love that you receive from this film. Absolutely give Sheila a follow on all social medias and show her some love from this interview. And we'll come back to you all very soon for more interviews and content right here at Big Old Belt Media very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.